obviously, President Biden has been deeply committed from the beginning to addressing climate. At the same time, we now have this energy situation where we're trying to do what we can to get more oil into the system and take prices down. Does that mean we have to at least delay some of our goals on climate?
Well, David, first of all, a happy Earth Day, and it's great to be here with you. No, it does not mean a delay. I mean, the president has made it very clear that the challenges of the gas prices that we're seeing now are important for us to take action on, and he's done that. But that is an emergency situation as a result of Putin's war. But we are also keeping our eye on the prize to make sure that while this is a limited effort, we do not lose our momentum that we've been gathering for the last year and a half to actually tackle the challenge of climate change. Most importantly, across the entire government, we're looking to put us on an irreversible path to clean energy. Because as the president's made it very clear as these gas price conversations have gone on, that he is taking action there, but he knows that the only way we can have true energy security and independence is to move to clean energy. And that's what we're doing all across the administration. And we're trying to do it in a way every time that looks at how we grow new jobs, because we need that for our economy, how we can invest in environmental justice so that we can make sure there's no communities left behind in this investment opportunity, and how we lower costs to American families today as we move forward. I know it sounds challenging, but we've made some great progress. We have an awesome foundation to build on as we move forward.
Let's talk about that progress specifically, because just watching it over the last months and even years, there's a lot of progress being made in the ambitions, in the stated goals of government, such as the United States government. I think it's 50% cut by 2030 in greenhouse gases, and in the private sector from corporations. A lot of big targets. How are we doing on delivering on those targets? Because it's going to take an awful lot to get there.
It will, but you know, the exciting thing is that I do think the private sector is fully engaged in this effort because they know we have to make change. And there's money in making that change, which is good for everybody. Look, last year, the U.S. deployed the most wind, solar, and battery storage in our country's history. And with grid investments, we now have 56 million homes that are powered by clean energy. So we are making tremendous progress. If you look at the opportunities that we have secured through the bipartisan infrastructure law, these are historic investments. We've already allocated $45 billion of those investments. And these are going to be investments that actually help us build resilience into our infrastructure moving forward so it can tackle those climate threats. We actually are moving forward with cleaning up pollution, getting lead pipes out of the system, building EV charging. So if you think electric vehicles aren't moving forward, you better go talk to both the auto workers and the automakers who have realized that this is the future for them. We can move this forward. And it's actually enticed $100 billion of private sector investment in the manufacturing of electric vehicles. So the opportunities today are magnificent. And if you looked at domestic offshore wind, we've finally launched it in the United States. It's actually happening. And the lease sales off of New Jersey and New York totaled more than $4 billion of investments. This is pretty much a watershed moment when we could either grab the clean energy future or let it sit there. And this president is not going to fail to use every tool in his toolbox to actually grab that clean energy future for the United States and for our workers and our families today.
Yeah, Gina, those are impressive numbers. For example, the $100 billion in electric vehicles, no question about it. At the same time, to get to where we need to go, I've seen estimates as high as $5 trillion a year for 10 years or even 30 years to get us there. Are those numbers realistic to really achieve the goals we need to achieve?
Well, you know, those estimates are based on what we know now. But what we also know is that we're investing in the technologies of the future. And as you invest, those kinds of dollars go down as the markets develop. And everybody knows this. Electric vehicles were seen as untenable in the future, in the past. But now we know they are what we need to do right now, and they'll be available. But we do need to call on Congress, and we are, to actually advance some more tax credit opportunities and investments in targeted ways so that we can make sure that costs go down over time and those $1 trillion become, instead of being costs, they become assets to the winners in the game. And we want to have those assets right here in the United States of America. So you're right, it's not inexpensive to make this shift. But what we're seeing is that expenses is actually accruing to the folks in the American families and the workers who are benefiting from those jobs, who are helping us get out of this pandemic and grow our economy with new jobs and new technology investments. And so we're benefiting from these investments. They're not sacrifices. And I expect over the future, you'll see lots more innovation as we're investing in green hydrogen, as we're investing in fusion, as we're shoring up our current nuclear sector and making other changes. We're going to keep moving forward, and hopefully the United States will be the winner that paves the way for all other countries to succeed as well.